How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on this video, I'm gonna go over my personal maintenance recommendations on the Tlx Type S. And if you bought one of these cars, you probably drive it as an enthusiast would, and on the harder side. Even if you don't, then you should still follow some sort of a more aggressive maintenance than what Acura recommends. I don't agree with their algorithm for the maintenance at all, and I think it's very safe, and it should just be a little bit more aggressive in my personal opinion. I've seen what happens to cars personally that aren't maintained, and this is stock cars with non-enthusiasts driving them, which obviously drive them way less aggressive than we normally would, and by we I mean enthusiasts. So once again, if you bought one of these cars, you're probably driving it on the harder side, and even more so if it's modified, then you should definitely follow these tips and maintenance suggestions in my opinion. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first thing, and that would be the oil change. I'm doing mine every 3,000 miles. I'm okay with every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. If you listen to Acura's algorithm, it'll probably go between 7,000 and 10,000 miles, which at that point you're cooking oil in my opinion. And again, I've seen firsthand what happens to long-term oil change intervals, and eventually initially it might not have any signs of any damage or anything like that, but down the line you're talking sticking rings, you're talking tremendous carbon buildup, and that's all stuff that is obviously bad and will cost you more money or the next owner down the road. So next thing is going to be a rotate, and I'm going to be rotating my my tires, every other oil change. So every 6 to 7,000 miles or so, I'm going to be rotating my tires. I recommend every 5,000 to 7,000 miles, depending on obviously your driving habits, and take a close look at your tires, and don't go past 10,000 miles without rotating them. They start to cup and causing premature wear, and obviously more issues down the road, which goes into my next recommendation, which is going to be an alignment every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year. If you live in an area like I do, there's a decent amount of potholes and they're just unavoidable. So you're going to want to make sure that just to make sure that everything is within specs, and if it's not at that point, you're going to want to adjust them to the specs as close as possible, and even more so if the car is lowered on springs or coilovers. Anything that's out of spec is going to just cause some premature tire wear. So filters, air and cabin filter, I'm going to recommend every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year. They're very affordable. You can do them yourself. On this car, the air filter is a little bit of a challenge to change, although I do have a video, and I'll link it in the comment section down below. And the cabin filter, you literally pop it out, pop it in. It's 1, 2, 3. They're affordable and easy to do, and you could do that yourself and save a couple bucks. Just make sure you get them done. Wipers, I like to change in my car every 6 months. I know that's on the aggressive side, but they're very affordable once again. And with any Honda Acura, you could get just the insert. You don't have to get the whole blade. Now, I know some people like the aftermarket blades. I don't like them. The Honda ones, they contour to the windshield real nice, and they clean great. And the inserts are very affordable. So every 6 to 1 year max, I would change the wiper inserts. And that is, again, something you can do, and I'll get around to making a video on that, just in case somebody wants to just see how easy it is, and you could do it yourself once again. So PCV valve, you're going to want to do every 30,000 miles or so. Again, very affordable and very easy to do yourself. Goes on a front valve cover, and when the time gets it for my car, I will make a video on it. And again, affordable and something you could do by yourself. The average person should literally, it's a 10 millimeter bolt. You pop it out, pop it in, and you're good to go. So transmission fluid every 15,000 miles. There's a lot happening. It's a 10-speed, a lot of gear changes. If you do a lot of launching, or if you drive the car hard, obviously the fluid breaks down every 15,000 miles, in my opinion. If you wanted to push it to 30,000 miles, I'd be okay with that. But I'm going to recommend every 15,000 miles. And at every 30,000 miles, you're going to want to change the transmission fluid with that second trans service. So 15,000 miles, just straight up drain and fill. At 30,000, drain and fill with a transmission filter change. And I'm going to have a video on that for sure. I haven't had the chance to change a filter on any of them yet, although I do have all the parts, the filter and all the O-rings to make sure that you don't have any leaks afterwards. And again, 15,000 miles for the transmission service, and every 30,000, you're gonna wanna do the filter and the transmission fluid at that point. Front differential, there's not much going on there. So every 30,000 miles, in my opinion, it's okay. If these cars start making a lot of power, obviously, and you're gonna wanna be a little bit more aggressive, but I think every 30,000 miles is more than okay. The rear diff fluid, the first one is recommended at 7,500 miles. And then after that, I'm okay between every 15 to 30,000 miles. Again, depending how you launch the car. And if you use a car in autocrossing and stuff like that, where the rear clutches are working a lot, you're gonna wanna, obviously get all that clutch debris out of there and get new fresh fluid in there. And just to make sure that differential holds up as best as possible. We don't see too many issues with them. Even on the Honda side of things, and there's no like track record of any failed units, although I'm sure there's one or two. But again, a lot of friction going on, being worn out, so you're gonna want to take that out of there and just freshen up the fluid every 15 to 30,000 miles. So moving on, brake fluid. You're gonna want to do this every 2 years or every 30,000 miles. Now, if you autocross it or road race it or anything like that, where the fluid and the brakes are, constantly being exposed to high temperatures, you're gonna want to upgrade to .4 fluid because it has a higher boiling point. But you're also gonna want to change it more frequently, maybe after every 2 sessions, race days, or whatever the case may be, whatever you feel comfortable with. But keep in mind that the more you abuse the car a little bit, the more maintenance it needs, and that is no different when it comes to brakes. So just keep that in mind. But if you're just, driving on the street, spirited driving, I think every 2 years or every 30,000 miles is more than okay. Moving on to coolant. So you're gonna wanna do it between 45 to 60K. Honda Coolant does a great job of staying true and honest to itself. And we don't really see too many issues. We only see issues when aftermarket coolant is used. So Honda Coolant is blue. So you're gonna wanna make sure if the car is ever in an accident and the radiator needs to be replaced or anything like that, that it has a blue coolant in it. If it has green, yellow, red, orange, whatever the case may be, get that stuff out of there. That stuff is super corrosive, and put the Honda coolant in there. And again, 45 to 60K should be okay. Which brings me to the timing belt. Which will be every 90 to 100,000 miles or every 7 years. So you would change a coolant at 45 and then again at the timing belt service interval, and you would be okay. So again, timing belt 90 to 100K, and at every 7 years, whatever comes first. So the timing belt is obviously rubber, so even if you don't drive the car, it still deteriorates, gets dry rotted, and it could still snap. So you're gonna wanna make sure you do that every 7 years or every 90 to 100,000 miles. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about the spark plug. So as of now, stockish cars or cars with a stage 1 tune, I think 60,000 miles is okay. If you're completely stocked, then 90,000 miles should work for you. If we start really cranking up the power in these cars, start doing some fuel blends with ethanol or anything like that, we're probably going to want to change them a little bit sooner, maybe every 30,000, every 45, whatever the case may be. So if you're watching this video in a couple of years from now, keep that in mind. Or again, if we start introducing those things into the cars, just keep that in mind once again. And like that, you make sure the spark plugs are good, and you don't have any misfire issues or anything like that of that nature. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Again, this is on the aggressive side, but if you bought one of these cars, you're probably pushing them, and you're probably considering a K-tuner or some sort of power increasing modifications. And with that being said, the Honda algorithm completely goes out of the picture here. And again, I don't agree with the Honda algorithm from the get. I think it's very safe and just, not aggressive enough in my opinion, but they do that to kind of balance the cost of maintenance and engine and performance and maintenance and long-term reliability. So that being said, guys, hope you like this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.